Okay, so today we are going to speak about the C programming. We have got the first topic, first lecture. I have named it lecture one, Introduction to C programming. In this way, I'll be completing the C programming courses. Yeah, some basic courses about C programming. And if you want this, then I will make a playlist for you. If I become successful in passing with 10 videos of C programming, you can pin that in your playlist. So, first of all, we have got introduction to C programming, and that we'll be talking about the C programming at first. The basic concept: why do we code in C programming language? Why do we use this language for programming? So, we'll learn that at first. First, we have got about history of C. Let us know when it was developed and how it was developed. So, it was written and designed by a man called Dennis Ritchie, and it was developed by AT&T Bell Laboratories of United States of America in 1972. This was the history of C. It was the time when the C language was designed at the beginning, right? And it was probably the primitive type of language. It is the simplest one. And next topic is that why should we learn C? Okay, you have come up with this tutorial. Okay, if you have come with this tutorial, then you might have been learning or you may be learning about C language. So why should we have to learn C? So we have got here some basic concept that it is reliable, it is simple and easy to use. Again, if you are coding in C language, if you are coming from other language, or if you have been coding from C to other language, then you must find that C language is very simple to code than other language because it has got less number of keywords than other language. It has got less number of lines, with less number of lines. It has got less complexity than other language. Similarly, it is best to learn different programming language. That is, wherever we are learning like different other language like C++, and you will be learning C++. If you are learning C language, then probably after that you will be learning C++ or JavaScript or Java. If you are learning other language, then C language is a basic language for you. It helps to give you the concept how to code especially. If you want to code in other language, then this will provide you a clear concept about the coding logics, how to use different types of things like variables, how to use like functions, how to use structure, how to use loop, array, how to use like control structure. This type of things you can use when after you get the knowledge about C language. So it's just a base for you to provide knowledge about other language. Other language also become easy after learning this. And next one, major component of popular OS like Windows, Unix, Linux are still written in C, and not in operating system, not that one. But inside that we have got some pre-installed applications. We have got pre-installed software components. Those components are still written in C. And up to now also in this present time also they haven't left writing some programs, writing some software, writing some application in C program. And they continue this trend from the past. It has been about decades, about 3 decades, that the C programming has been written for the application development for simple one and just for simple application development. If you are using, if you are going to make any type of big applications, then at that time probably C language is not used. We use different type of the language like Python, we use JavaScript, we use Java, that type of things, that type of languages are used. So next one we have got features of C. What are the features? So first feature is that it has got modularity. So this is the first feature of C language about modularity. Modularity means we can take it as an important characteristics of C. That means C program can be split into number of modules. Okay, instead of repeating some kind of logic statement, repeating time to time, we can use that again. We will have reusability of the modules. Just for example, after doing this, when we go to functions, we will be using functions to create a kind of reusability. That means we will call a certain statement at least once. For example, let us tell RAM. Okay, RAM is a engineer. Okay, what he can do? Now whenever we have to do certain kind of thing, like RAM is a civil engineer, then when we have to build some kind of buildings at that time, okay, RAM can do that. Okay, if you have to build the bridge, then okay, at the time also RAM can do that. We have called that RAM only once. RAM is an engineer, but that can do different types of tasks later on also. Either so, this is a kind of function of C. We can have reusability. We can break into number of modules. That is the RAM is an engineer that is broken down to the like what to the like doing that, making that buildings, or building that building and building the bridge. Similarly, it is a yeah, but the next topic is it is a middle level language. So that means C language is a intermediate. It's between has combined the advantage of low level and high level language both. Again, we can have the advantage low level and high level. Either this is an intermediate form of both the language. So it is a middle level language. Similarly, C language is, we can also call it a general purpose programming language. That is, C can be used to implement any kind of application such as math-oriented, graphics, business, in any kind of thing. This can be used for different kind of purpose. That if you have to do some mathematical problem, then at that time also we can use this C language. Especially if you have to do some arithmetic operation, logical operation in math, if you have to do any other kind of things, okay, then at that time all the mathematical operation can be done with the help of C language. And if you have to deal with the graphics also, then at that time also C language can be used, and some business oriented application like making the some business software, like bank management software, okay, like trade management software. For those kind of activity, we can use C programming language. Similarly, we have got portability also. That means we can compile or execute C language in any other operating system. Right? That means if something is written in C, then that can be operated in other OS also. Like if I have written the C program, if I have done coding in C language in Windows, and we are going in Windows, then that can work out in other language, such in other operating system like Unix, DOS, in other system also. Right? It is a portable. It can be done. It can be run in any other kind of program, any other kind of OS also, or a no. And it is a very powerful programming language that is very efficient and powerful, first of all, and it is best for data stores and designing system software. That means you have not have system software, the software which is pre-installed in the operating system from the beginning. Okay, while you're using some mobile phone, that Android phone, while using Windows, some software have been pre-installed in your operating system from the beginning. Okay, you will not have to install that. So that kind of pre-installed software is coded in C language. Okay. So these are the features of the C programming language. Similarly, next, we have got advantage of C. Now, why do we use C? That is the feature. Now, why do we use C? We have got some advantage. That means it is building base for the programming language. I have told that again. If you know how to code C language, then it will help you a lot while coding other language. And it will give you logics, how to use the functions, how to use the variables, how to do the operations. They, it will be very easy for you. Right? If you skip from C language to other language, then you will understand yourself why I'm telling why it is. Right? It will give you a lot of logic. And program written for one computer may run successfully on another. If you're writing the program in C language to make any kind of software, to make any kind of things, I then at that time the program written in one computer you are doing in one computer, like you are doing in your computer, right? And that computer will successfully run in another computer also. And just for example, the Windows also, we are talking about Windows also. If the program is written in Windows, then that program will also run in the Linux also. Right? You can try that. Right? If you are writing the program in Linux, then that will work in Windows. It can run in every devices. And It is faster execution. That means it will take less time to execute than other. If you are using the special Python, if you're using that, that will take a larger time. And because they have to create some environment, they have to import some things, they have to do different kind of things. But while doing C language, it will execute fast. Right? It's not like that. So you may have noticed if some programs are written in C language, then they will execute fast. That is the pre-installed software are running fast than other later installed software. And why does that happen? Because they are mainly written in C language, and similarly they are very short and powerful statement. They are very short again, they have got less number of lines, and they are powerful also. Having less number of lines also and powerful also, they are simple and easy to use, they are simple to remember, they are easy to make logics, and they have got power. They extend their power by use of function. They use different kind of function to make their tasks easy, and respect to run the code in less number of lines. Right? If you want to run some code about, let us say, about 1,000 lines of code, that can be run in only one line by calling a function. Right? So it will be made it is made easier with the help of the C language. Similarly, we have got disadvantage, and we have got certain disadvantages. That's why different other languages have been developed later on after C was developed. If C will not have got any disadvantage, then no other programming language would have been developed. So, what are the disadvantages that have made the people to create the new programming language? We have got different types of modern and high-level programming language. Why are they created? The first time, the first disadvantage, it has no runtime check. That means whenever the C program is running, then at that time it do not check it immediately. And just for example, whenever we are coding certain kind of programs like Python, we type one code, then that will run immediately. But in C language that doesn't have to happen. We should have to compile it time to time if you want to check whether it is correct or not, it whether it will give error or not. I would like to check time to time. With no strict checking, that means it has no strict checking. That means whenever we are giving some data type like float, we have to give the decimal value, but the C program will take the integer value also. Just for example, we are told that okay, at this place, take some decimal value. Just for example, decimal means having in point, right? 3.22 point at that decimal value. Okay, take this decimal point. But C program will understand that. C program will also take the integer value, that means 2, 3, 4. It will take that also. But so that is a disadvantage. Right? It doesn't check streaking, and long program is difficult to compile. That if the program is very long, then it will be difficult to compile, as well as it will be very difficult to find the error also in the C program. And it is not used to develop complex type of software. We cannot develop complex type of software by using C language nowadays, because some easy language to develop different types of high level complex software have been developed nowadays, right? And by using C, it can be difficult to develop complex software, right? But it is easy to use. So yeah, this is all about the C language. And if you like the video, then you can just pin the playlist and follow me. Right? So this much for today. Thank you.